Hello, students, and welcome to a video titled Measures of Central Tendency. Now, we have been calculating measures of central tendency the last few days when we were finding mean, median, and mode. So let's review. What is a measure of central tendency? Well, it's just a fancy way of saying, if you could just pick one number to represent a whole set of data, what number would you choose? Let's rephrase that again. So a measure of central tendency is a way to get a number, one number, that's the key, one number that can represent the whole set of data pretty well. That's what a measure of central tendency. Think about what tendency means. Like, what is it leaning toward? So what is your data's, what are the tendencies of your data? What is your data leaning toward? What's one number that represents it? So again, those values were mean. Should we use the average? Should we just take the average of all the numbers? Would that be a good number to represent? The middle or the median? Or maybe the mode, the one that occurs most often? Well, the answer of which one's best, it really depends on the situation. Let's get into an example and I'll show you what I mean. And this is real data. I got this off PowerSchool. And I use my third period class because it's my smallest. The ages of the human beings in Miss Callahan's third period class are, and here they are. We've got 11-year-olds. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 11-year-olds. We have 3 12-year-olds. And guess who this is? You guessed it. It's me, Miss Callahan, at 48 years old. So if I wanted to pick one number to represent the ages of the human beings in Miss Callahan's third period class, well, let's see. Let's calculate the 3 options. Let's calculate, so I wrote here, which measure would be best to use if we had to pick one number to represent the ages in the class. Okay, well, let's calculate the mean. So to calculate the mean, we have to add up all of these numbers and then divide by how many numbers we have. So I'll do that for us here. I have this crazy, oh, my batteries are low. So I have to add up 10, 11. So watch this. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then my 3 12-year-olds, 1, 2, 3, and then Miss Callahan. So that gives me a sum of 205. So the mean is going to be 205 divided by how many people I have. Well, there are 13 of you in period 3, plus me makes 14 human beings in the room. So if I take 205 divided by 14, I get 14, let's say 0.6. 14.6. So if I use the average to represent as one number to represent the age of the humans in this room, it's 14.6. That seems a little weird because besides the teacher, there's really nobody in the class this age. So using 14.6 to represent these ages seems a little weird. Let's move on. Let's calculate the median. Let's see what that gives us. That would be the middle. So let's start crossing off. So if we cross off 11, 48, 11, 12, 11, 12, 11, 12. Now I'm just crossing 11 with 11, 11 with 11. Now I have 2 11s left in the middle because there are 14 people, which is even. So I want to find the middle of that. I'm going to find the average. Well, the middle of 11 and 11 is 11, but if you want to add them together, 11 plus 11 is 22. And 22 divided by 2 is certainly 11. So the median, or the middle of my data set, is 11. Would that be a reasonable one number to represent the ages of the humans in this room? Maybe. What about the mode? The mode. Well, clearly the age that occurs most often is also going to be 11. So what do you think? Do we want to use 14.6 to represent the ages in the room, or 11? I hope you're thinking 11. And here's the deal. When your data set has what I call an outlier, like one that just doesn't fit with the rest, one that's skewed so far off in the horizon, it just throws everything off. In fact, my age, 48, you know what that did? It drew the mean upward. It skewed it to 14.6. So somebody looking at our data might think, oh, Miss Callahan must teach ninth graders. This must be a freshman Algebra 1 class because most of the students are 14, almost 15 years old. But that's just not the case. So I think the mean is not a good representation of our data. But I do like the median or the mode. Now, I'll tell you, more often than not, in a scenario like this, I would use the median. Like when I just have one kind of strange outlier, I often will use the middle to represent my measure of central tendency. In this case, the mode, was okay because there were a lot of 11-year-olds, but let's just say I would have had, some 9-year-olds, some 10-year-olds, and then my 11 and 12-year-olds. I think in that case, I think it would have been better to use the middle because otherwise the mode would have been 9, and that would have looked like we had more 9-year-olds than anything, or 9 would be, one great number to represent the ages, where 11 is just more toward the middle. So in summary, if you have a major outlier, one that doesn't fit with the rest, I would use the median. I would probably go with the median. I usually try to just find the average if the data is kind of symmetrical and there's no crazy outliers. Okay, let's look at another one. The last one we're going to look at here. The scores on the Unit 4 test for Miss Callahan's 4th period class are... Let me pull my camera up a little bit here. You can't quite see them all. Okay, so here are the scores. Look at those scores. See how there's like a nice steady rise in the scores? You have your 75, 79, 79, then you go right into some 80s, into your 90s. I mean, I'm not really seeing a crazy outlier here. Yeah, I'm just really not seeing something that doesn't fit. There's a nice representation all the way from C's up until A's. So when that happens and the data is distributed in a continuous and symmetrical way, I like to use the mean as my measure of central tendency. The median won't be far off from it, but I think the mean would be best here. If you did mode, you have two 79s, you have two 87s, and you have two 90s. So you have 3 modes. Which one would you choose? That would be weird. So I definitely wouldn't use the mode to give us one number for the test scores. Mean might be nice though. So let's go ahead and find our mean. Now this is a lot of test scores to add up, so bear with me. So I have to take 75 plus 79, 79, 80, 81, 83, 85, 87, 87, 89, 90, 90, 92, 94, 96, 98. So I'm getting 1385 as my sum. And then I'm going to divide that by how many scores I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And if I take 1385 divided by 16, I'm getting 86.5625. So if I round that up, I'll make it 87%. So I could say I can use one number, 87%, which is the average of all of these scores. That would be one number to say, here's around or on average how my students did on the Unit 4 test. So I think that would be great. Now, like I said, median will come close. Let's see what the median would do. If we started crossing to the middle, it'll probably be pretty close to, oh, and it is. Look, you get two 87s. Well, if you add 87 plus 87 and divide by 2, you're right back at 87. So you could really use the mean or the median here. I would accept either one. But what happens? What if a 17th student joined the class, right, and earned a score of 50%? Now, which measure of central tendency would be a good representation of the fourth period scores? So say you come back up here and now all of a sudden, new student comes in and scores a 50, an F, right? Everybody was rocking the C's, the B's, and the A's. This student is a bit of what I call an outlier. Just doesn't quite fit the rest, sort of like a standout. I wonder what that would do to our mean. I wonder if this would pull the mean downward. Well, let's see. Remember that it was 1385 originally, and we had 16 students. So what if I take 1385 and add the 50, and then divide by 17 students? 84.4. So we'll say 84%. So with the new student, right, the mean is now lower at 84%, but the median, what would happen to the median? Well, let me get a new marker here. The median, let's see, now we'd be crossing the 50 with the 98, with the 98, the 75 with the 96, the 79 with the 94, the 79 with the 92, 80, 90, 81, 90, 83, 89, 85, 87, boom. Dead center on 87. Which do you think, if you had to choose one number to represent the scores on the test of the fourth period class, should I go with 84 or 87? Me personally, because of this outlier, I would go with 87. Because I think this is a better representation. This student who didn't study or didn't try as hard or something bad happened that day, something happened there and it's dragging the average down 3 percentage points. I think a better representation of the majority is sticking with the median at 87. So that's just an idea. There's so many examples I could do, but that's just an idea of like when to use what. You hear this measures of central tendency. It's such a fancy term. It just means if you were measuring the way or the tendencies of your data, which way would you go? Okay, I hope that makes sense. Have a great day and happy trails to you.